Thank you for listening to this podcast from TRE, Talk Radio Europe, your voice in Spain and around the world. For more information, please visit tre.radio.
TRE in the afternoon. Presented by Hannah Murray.
Good afternoon. It's just gone 5:05. You are listening to Women Talk. With me in the studio today, Sheila Mellor, Janet Barnett and Helen Stanley. Hello.
Hello, Hannah.
Hi. Thank you all for coming in. If you're listening at home and you want to get involved, you absolutely can. Here's how.
To contact TRE, please call 952 78 4000. Email studio@tre.radio. Send us a WhatsApp on +34 645 99 67 95.
What a beautiful day. It's a wonderful life.
Okay, I like to start off with an article about food. I couldn't find one this week, but I did find one about wine. So hopefully that's just as good. So most of us know a Chablis is a good choice with fish, and a robust Cabernet Sauvignon is the perfect companion for steak. But now a study of 2,000 wine buffs has come up with the perfect match for occasions rather than what's on the menu. So, for example, Pinot Grigio emerged as the best to unwind with after a long day at work. A medium-bodied Rioja was considered the ideal to accompanying binge-watching a TV show. I thought this was an interesting way of looking at it. I thought maybe we could discuss if you have ever thought of wines that go with particular occasions and things that you're doing as opposed to always matching with food.
Well, if you're plonking, if you're sitting at home and just watching the movie or watching TV, then, yeah, I'd just buy a bottle of something like a Pinot or Pinot Grigio, yeah. Don't even think about maybe just the cheapest. But, you know,
Yes.
because I know it's not going to last very long.
Exactly.
I think that's always gone on.
Yeah.
I don't think it's anything new.
No.
I would be more particular if I was, you know, eating something
Hosting
special or hosting or...
Yeah, but every day, then it's just kind of.
Yeah.
I suppose we've always
Sauvignon.
had champagne and sparkling wine is to celebrate an occasion.
Yes.
And perhaps now it's more, let's have a special cocktail to celebrate an occasion.
Yeah.
We'll have a happy birthday cocktail or
Mixing it up.
mixing it up.
Exactly. I remember Charlotte Rodriguez, our wine expert that comes in regularly on the show. She always says that just, you know, make it even, you know, really simple. Just drink what you like. Don't even feel like you need to drink white wine with fish or red wine with meat. If you want to have white wine with meat, you can. Or if you prefer to have red wine with fish, you can. Just find what you enjoy and go with it, as opposed to thinking what you're supposed to be doing, you know.
I agree with that as well, but I actually really like to have a nice rosé wine.
Yes.
Sort of after, well, in the evening as a relaxing, especially in the summertime when it's nice and warm, or even an Aperol spritz, something like that.
Oh, definitely.
That's my
and when you say rosé, you talking like a blush type?
A blush, sort of a Pinot Grigio blush is what I usually like. Not too heavy, but really quite, almost like a strawberry depth behind the flavour of the wine.
Yeah, and it goes well in the summer, doesn't it, as well?
Yes.
It goes well any time, to be frank.
Not fussy.
When we lived in France, they have these big caves, which aren't posh. Well, they have posh wine bottles there. They also have the huge vats of wine.
Oh, yeah.
And you go in with your whatever you want to fill up with this wine. And there'd be a farmer coming in with some old barrel that looked disgusting, and they'd fill it up with wine that was €1, €1.50, €2, and the best one would be about €2.50. So you'd buy boxes of wine, or you'd take any receptacle you wanted, and he would fill it with wine, which quite amused us. Cause you could bring an old flagon and fill it up with wine.
Sounds like my dream come through.
And that meant you just drank it and drank it and drank it, because there was the bottle, the box. Just keep filling it up. It was €1 a sip.
Brilliant. I love that. Why don't they still do that? We need to find a place that does that. This is a piece that we talked about on Men Talk last week, and I wondered if I'd get a different reception from the women. So this is to do with feeling angry. It says, the article reads, going for a run, taking a few deep breaths, or even screaming into a pillow are tried and tested strategies for coping with anger. But the best thing to do could be to write down your reaction on paper and then throw it away. Can you imagine?
Buddhist.
Yes, isn't it?
Very Buddhist. That's what they get you to do. Throw it in the river and watch it drift off into...
Okay. So it's a kind of sort of releasing, letting go, saying goodbye to negative energy, that kind of...
No.
Okay.
So you can do it myself, but it sounds like a really good idea.
Yeah.
It does sound very zen.
Yeah.
Probably get your anger out more if you put it in the fire and watched it burn.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go, up the chimney.
What would you normally do to get rid of anger or to express anger?
I can't even remember the last time I was angry, really. I get frustrated.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
But no, I don't know if I get angry very much. Can't be bothered. It's too much energy.
I'm the same. I try not to get angry, but I don't really think that I would be going straight to a piece of paper and a pen to write it down, because I think it's an emotion that comes across very quickly unless it's been something that's been building up for a while, which then obviously can make you very angry if that's the case. So for me, I think I would be more try and take a deep breath and sit back and try and work through it in my own mind as to how I should react to something rather than instantly,
That's a really good point, that, because in the midst of anger, you'd hardly go and get a piece of paper and a pen, would you?
No.
Think, oh, just hang on a minute, I'll just hold my anger while I just write it down.
Exactly. I just think it's good to, well, it's personal opinion, but expressing emotions is this is what I said last week. And if you're angry, be angry. And for me, if I can and I don't think I feel anger particularly often, but maybe a little bit, I don't know. But then I kind of express my anger and then I can move on. Same way, if I'm feeling sad, I'll express my sadness and then I'm all right again. Or it's great to express happiness. However you're feeling, I think it's great to be able to express it.
Absolutely. I also think sometimes that, am I overreacting, about the situation that I'm in? And I don't want to hurt somebody's feelings if it's just maybe my emotions, how my day's been.
Yeah.
If I'm actually having not a very good day, I might be reacting to something differently how I normally would if I'm having a great day.
That's
I think
true.
A lot of it's to do with actually maybe your hormones or your mindset on the actual day. And obviously it depends what the situation is that you're in that's making you angry.
Perhaps we should all express our anger more. I don't express it enough, I think.
No?
But pummeling a cushion.
That sounds fun.
You try pummeling a polyester filled cushion and it actually doesn't really get much pummeling. It just bounces your hand back. Or throwing so you need a feather cushion to pummel.
Yeah. I'm always wearing lipstick. I don't think a cushion's a good thing for me because I just see it constantly at the dry cleaners just having it cleaned.
Actually, the last time I was angry, it was about 2.5, maybe nearly 3 years ago.
Oh, wow! That's
and I
amazing.
threw a glass and smashed it.
Oh.
Not at anybody.
No, just, in anger.
Just in anger.
Yeah.
And then you've got to clear it all up. So it's like...
Well, I didn't. I walked away. Somebody else had to clear it up.
Brilliant. There was a talking of anger. There was a piece a while ago, and I felt really embarrassed that no one else kind of got it like I did. I was made to feel a bit kind of weird. There was an article talking about this place I think it was somewhere in the UK, obviously, probably in London, where you could go into a room with like a baseball bat or something and smash it. Wow. To high heaven. And you paid to do that, to kind of get rid of your anger or whatever. And I thought that sounded great fun. And everyone else on the panel was like, oh no, I
was on the
imagine.
panel that day. I was going, what?
No one else could believe it. I was like, oh, I love the idea of that. I just think it would be great fun. Not necessarily to get rid of anger, but just be great fun. No one else.
Maybe take up boxing.
I do that. Yes, I love it. I really love it. That's really funny.
The punch bag's usually a good way of...
Well, I just punch the air, but it's great.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Oh, I must try that.
Oh, it's ever so good. Right, after the break, we will be back with Woke Watch.
Hannah Murray on TRE in the afternoon.
Good afternoon. You're listening to Women Talk with me in the studio today, Sheila Mellor, Janet Barnett and Helen Stanley. So, Woke Watch, I've decided to call it, because there's a couple of articles I've found that fit under this banner, or should I say flag. Mm-hmm. So, this article, the headline is Backlash over Hospitals' Woke Flags. NHS bosses have been accused of woke pandering after bringing out a banner featuring flags for 21 genders or sexualities. This is at the Royal Stoke Hospital. It's a banner, and the collection of flags is titled "Everyone is Welcome Here." Patients at the hospital in Stoke-on-Trent have expressed outrage at the banner, with one saying people are waiting months and even years for treatment, but the NHS is more interested in woke pandering than taking care of patients, it seems. Now, I don't know about you, but I had no idea that there were this many flags for all the different genders and sexualities. So I think we all know the rainbow flag, and that's been around for a while, and it's associated with gay pride and everything like that. Fabulous. But there's a progress flag, bisexual flag, pansexual, non-binary, transgender, asexual, intersex. I've never even heard that before. One specifically for gay men, one for lesbians, polysexual, agender, androgyne, gender fluid, genderqueer, neutrals, aromantic, demisexual, demiromantic, polyamorous and straight ally. And I thought, well, what's the straight ally? And the straight ally is a flag for straight people who support the LGBT community. I just thought, my goodness, where on earth do we need a flag for straight people who support the gay community?
We need a flag for all those different things. We don't have flags for other things. If you've got a disability and you're going to hospital, you don't have a flag for every different disability.
Absolutely.
Do you?
Absolutely.
It's just gone crazy.
You don't have a flag for all different races and colours and things as well, do you? I mean, flags
just
in
welcoming everybody, no matter who they are.
You don't need a flag, because once you start putting flags up, people will go, well, why can't we have a flag for such? This, there isn't a flag just for straight people, for example.
Yeah, the straight. There's a women's flag or a men's flag or a.
Is there?
We don't really know. No.
Oh, there isn't.
No, we can make them up.
Yeah, I was going to say, I didn't think there were. I mean, I know they do, again, the ribbons for lots of charities, the pink ribbon for breast cancer, and, there's lots of different coloured ribbons for different charities. But I couldn't think of, I mean, there must be other flags, but I couldn't think of other flags for anything other than countries or municipalities or cities or whatever. I mean, it just seems, why can't a rainbow flag represent all of those things, which I thought it did, to be honest. I didn't realise.
I did as well. I think it's crazy myself. I really do. I think the world's going a little bit mad to make all these different flags when, the NHS needs so much money anyway to help so many people with lots of different illnesses, operations, and the funding that goes into making flags, I just think is really ridiculous myself.
I'd like to see the bill.
Yeah, exactly. How much that's
and how
cost.
they justify it.
I think
and how on earth they justified getting it across the board or whatever to get it done.
Payment.
It's really weird. I mean, all you need to do is say everyone is welcome here.
Yeah,
you don't need to start putting flags up.
It's almost the opposite. They're saying, oh, well, you're a little bit over here, you're channeled here, you've got to go there because you're different. It's kind of celebrating difference as opposed to celebrating sameness.
Yeah,
I agree. I think celebrating being a human being, and whatever it is whatever your beliefs are, then that's your choice.
Yeah.
I don't think you have to have a flag to make you feel that you fit in.
No. I mean, they could go...
working class place like Stoke-on-Trent.
Yeah.
Where they need every single penny because it's, quite deprived.
Yeah. They could, they could go down the route of, if they're saying everyone is welcome here, they should have flags from every nation around the world. Again, if they did flags just from Europe, for example, then, it's not right for the rest of the world. It's just mad. Just say everyone's welcome here, and then you don't need any pictures of anyone or anything or any flags, and that just encompasses everyone, doesn't it? Everyone is everyone. You don't need to go further than that. It says, it is what it says, isn't it?
Absolutely.
I just don't get it. I find it all very bizarre. I'd be interested to know, one can only assume, I could be wrong, but one can only assume that if you identified with any one of those things. If you were gender fluid, if you were aromantic or asexual or any of these, how they would feel about having their own flag, and whether they, feel better that they have an own flag, whether they didn't identify with the rainbow flag and pleased that they have their own. I don't know.
No.
So
you have to tick this box when you sign up for treatment. Oh, hello, do sit down, and which flag do you stand under?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it goes on in the article talking about having to fill in forms and things. It said in November last year, NHS doctors criticised a new nonsensical form they were being asked to fill out that involved ticking a box on which genitalia patients had.
Oh, crazy.
Okay. Well, there you go.
Oh, dear. It's mad, isn't it?
Let's just invent a few more pigeonholes, because we haven't got enough.
Yes.
And let's open a flag making business in Stoke.
Oh, yeah. Very busy.
You do really well. Okay, on to cancel culture. Dawn French has said cancel culture forces people into a corner where they choose to be cowards rather than say what they believe. She said, I don't like that. I've never been cowardly, I hope, but I'm starting to be that because I'm being circumspect about what I will support or not in case it causes trouble. As women especially, the last thing we should do is shut up. We shouldn't be back in the corner, and yet I am in the corner, and I really dislike it about myself.
I don't understand why that's cancel. What does cancel?
So basically, it's the idea of generally a celebrity, a famous person speaking out against something, having an opinion. It's happened a lot with J.K. Rowling and transgender and things like that. Somebody kind of speaking out and saying, I think this is wrong. Like we've just done about flags. If Zoe Ball did that on BBC Radio 1, the whole community might kind of turn against her and say, you can't say that, you're not allowed to say that, and suddenly all social media would be going mad, saying get her off the radio, she's really offensive, she can't be doing that, and she might lose her job because of that comment, because she disagrees with something that we're all supposed to be on board with, and that's cancel culture. So Dawn French is saying she's always had an opinion and feels like we should all have opinions, but in this day and age you have to be so careful about having an opinion because of being cancelled, basically.
Especially having an online opinion where it's there for everybody to read and read and read.
Yes, exactly. You can't kind of take it back, can you?
Good job I haven't got a really important job. I'd be cancelled right away.
Yeah, me too. Eek. But it's terrible, isn't it? I really feel for people. We don't, I think I do feel quite lucky that we can kind of get away with having a bit of an opinion a bit more here on radio, I'm talking, compared to the UK, because these things do get picked up on all the time in the UK, and people do feel like they can't say anything, can't have an opinion, especially on all these woke subjects and topics.
It's not being able to express your feeling at all. Being a human being, how you actually feel. It's all about, what's correct to keep everybody happy, and it's not personalised anymore.
No. People are too worried about offending everybody.
Absolutely. But then when you look at the flags and all of the different people with regards to, the world that we live in now, you've just one thing that you say wrong, you can lose your job over. It's very scary. And obviously that's why so many people just
starting to shut up.
Yeah. It's a shame.
Very.
Someone who hasn't shut up, though, and I love her, is Hannah Waddingham. She was the female star of Ted Lasso, and she arrived to host the Olivier Awards on Sunday when one photographer asked her to show a little leg. She had a beautiful purple dress on, and it had a slit up the side, and she was standing on the stairs, and I've seen the clip, and the photographer said, "Oh, show us a little leg," that kind of comment. So she's supposed to stand there and pose, so she's got more leg showing. But instead of doing that, she said, "Oh my God, you'd never say that to a man. Don't be a beep or I'll move off." Then she did move off, telling him to show some manners.
Good for her.
Well done, her.
It's brilliant, isn't it? Yeah. Brilliant.
And it's really good the way she dealt with it as well. Sorry to cut across you, Janet. She didn't get angry with him. She didn't belittle him. She just kind of said it in such a brilliant way that she did belittle him, really, made him look the twit that he was.
Yeah.
Twit.
Well done. It's true, though. I mean, what were you going to say, Janet?
Well, they don't say to the chaps, come on, raise it, show us your ankle.
Exactly.
Or open your buttons on your shirt, show us the chest. They do it just to the women.
Exactly.
So they have to always show a little bit more each time if they want to get their pictures in the magazines and papers.
Yeah. And, you know, the reality is, and it's not a bad thing, there's no right or wrong. A lot of women in that situation, in her situation, probably would have shown a bit of leg. And either would have felt totally fine about it and not been bothered and been used to it and no hassles at all. Or they might have shown a little bit of leg but felt uncomfortable about it and thought, why am I doing this? You know, yeah, exactly. So I loved the fact that she thought, no, I don't want to show a bit of leg, and was quite happy to say so. Brilliant.
Very assertively, without anger. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
She wasn't there for showing off her figure. She was there for a purpose. And the dress obviously looks stunning on her anyway, because she's got an incredible figure.
Yeah.
But it wasn't necessary to show more. Less is more sometimes.
Exactly. And it's a shame, isn't it, for a lot of women in the public eye when, you know, they have their talents. That, you know, she's an amazing actress, also a fabulous singer. You know, these talented women that have, you know, great careers and are looking for work like everyone else. And then suddenly they're reduced to it all being about their looks. And that was also, I felt, the point that she was making. You know, as you say, she was there to host the awards because she's talented, she's a good speaker, etc., etc. And it's, you know, shows a bit of leg. It's like, no, I'm not here because of my legs.
Absolutely.
I'm here because, you know, that kind of thing. It was a good message. Okay, we better take a break.
Hannah Murray. TRE in the afternoon.
Good afternoon. You are listening to Women Talk. It is just gone 5:30 with me in the studio today, Sheila Mellor, Janet Barnett and Helen Stanley. There was an article here that I found earlier and I couldn't quite believe it. I was deep diving into this, doing a bit of research, and I'm quite shocked into what I found. So the article reads, the AI Miss World, first beauty pageant for digital contestants only. The contestants have all the looks, style and poise you'd expect from hopefuls in a beauty pageant. These ladies, however, have one unique characteristic. They are all generated by artificial intelligence. I cannot believe how realistic these women were. I thought, well, they're obviously real. No. These are not real women. These are generated by AI. And it talks about one particular woman. It's because it said at the end, one of them can often be seen on Instagram posing in clothes from top brands such as Victoria's Secret and Guess. So I thought, I'll have a little look at Instagram. This AI person has got over 30,000 followers, and all her pictures are her posing in clothes, bikini, you know, with the hair done, looking absolutely stunning. And she's not a human. Wow. And she is a model who is part of a modelling agency. And I'm trying to want to get the guy who runs this agency, because they're in Barcelona. Right. I'd love to chat with him, because I find it fascinating. He's created a model agency with women who aren't actual women. They are AI images. And these women are earning money. But he obviously gets it all because I'm just trying to get my head around it all. It's madness.
Why do we need the human race anymore?
Well, exactly.
Well, I mean, a human being, you know, body conscious women, men around the world.
Yeah.
And, you know, being a model, you have to be, it isn't as bad now with regards to your shape and your size and your height, because I think that the world has changed with regards to that a lot. But AI, it's just crazy how real it looks.
Seriously real. I mean, I just thought, well, I couldn't believe it. You've seen the pictures, haven't
that's
you?
Why
I mean,
it's real. They do look real.
They do look.
So we've got twisting our perception of what is real and what's not real.
Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, you know, it just made me think, I mean, that I really feel for models and things in this. I mean, we had a chat in the office about it, and I said, well, if they're this, you know, real and effective, surely then it could go into acting and singing, and, you know, they could create movies without using any cameras, without using any location shots, because they can do all that on the computer as well, and without using any actors, without paying any makeup artists. I mean, the list goes on. You could create a whole film. Well, they do digital films, don't they? What am I talking about? They've been doing that for years, but you know what I mean? But with kind of AI people as opposed to like cartoons and stuff. But someone was saying upstairs that the graphics of the moving isn't so good yet. You'd still be able to tell that they're AI with the movement. So that would be different.
At the moment.
But 10 years from now.
It won't be
I don't
long.
think ABBA Voyager is actual AI, but I mean, I've never seen anything so real.
What was that?
ABBA Voyager.
Oh, yes, ABBA Voyage, yeah.
I mean, it's just amazing. Absolutely blew me away.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't, you could see even the hairs on their arms. And the way they moved, there was nothing, you just would have thought it was ABBA standing there.
That's incredible.
It was amazing.
Gosh. And you can see that they can easily do that with so many other artists, can't they? I mean, no artist needs to die. They'll just bring them back as AI. And you could go to, a lot of people pay a lot of money to go to an Elvis concert or whatever. You can see that's the way forward. And there's a part of me that thinks, well, why not? You love the ABBA Voyage.
Yeah,
it was
great.
Yeah, why not? It doesn't have to be a bad thing. And they're not taking money away from ABBA because ABBA
they created it.
Yeah, exactly. So it depends kind of who.
But it's when they start interacting with human beings and you don't know that you're interacting with an AI that starts to get scary.
Yeah, a bit weird, doesn't it?
And it's getting closer and closer and closer.
But how do you feel about an AI Miss World, though?
Well, I don't really agree with Miss World anyway, so I'm cut out of this one.
Can have artificial intelligence Miss World of the artificial intelligence world.
Yeah.
Not this world.
No, exactly.
Yeah, we still believe
being
it's
a human
world.
being. It's Miss World is all about the human being. Being born beautiful in the eye of whoever it is who's going to crown you with the Miss World. But AI for me, I don't personally. I know it is the future. It's what's happening now, and I think it will save an awful lot of money, like you say, with regards to not having to, pay for all of these models, makeup artists and hairdressers and everything. It's just all created digitally. It's
exciting in one way, but in another way, I think that's really depressing and really sad for all these people who, have careers and who have, mapped out their lives either as models or makeup artists or whatever, who are probably really worried about their jobs. I just think AI Miss World is just total madness.
Imagine the conversations going around a boardroom when they're putting together an advert.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'd like her nose a little bit longer. Or could you lighten her hair?
Exactly.
And those hairs on her arms, make them a little bit. It would go on forever, creating your ideal artificial intelligent AI
woman.
Not necessarily intelligent. Artificial.
Well, yes, exactly. They don't need to worry about their intelligence, do they? Let's be honest. In the AI sense, I'm not being rude about actual women in beauty contests, obviously. Okay, this is an interesting one. So this is the headline. Why these new mum photos are anything but empowering. So this is to do with celebrity women who have recently given birth, who upload selfies and pictures of themselves, postpartum, basically, at various different levels of losing weight, I guess, losing the baby weight, as they call it, having had babies. So the article was written by someone who's recently had her fourth child, and she says, no stretch marks, no muffin tops. Stars who flaunt their postpartum bodies don't reflect the brutal reality, says a writer who's just given birth. And this, again, is a generational thing, isn't it? It's access to social media. These people have got lots of followers who are used to them posing content, who want to know what they're doing, what they're up to, and, to be fair, probably what they look like having had a baby. What kind of messages do we think it sends out? Do we care?
Well, fortunately and unfortunately for women, some women have babies and recover very, very quickly their old shape. Within 2 weeks of me having Elliot, I was back almost to what weight I was before him, and I didn't have a stretch mark.
That's amazing.
Now, I didn't do anything to
genetics. It was then.
It must be, because I didn't exercise. I didn't rub cream on my belly like they all do today. And it was probably stress being a single parent. But you know, I know other women that have had a terrible time of, you know, gaining too much weight without not overeating or doing anything wrong, and having a traumatic birth, and then spending ages, months and months and months trying to get their shape back, and with horrendous stretch marks. So I suppose what the celebs are trying to do is say, oh, look at me, I've just had a baby and I can still look perfect just afterwards. And it isn't the case for all women.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily, I think it is a lot to do with genetics.
Oh, it must be.
Speaking personally.
Yeah, absolutely. It must be.
I think certainly in my sort of family, the younger mothers, their bodies go back almost instantly. It's like, well, how did that happen? But after 4 children, it would get harder and harder.
Longer, yeah.
And these celebrities have got to keep their content going, I suppose.
Yeah.
They can't pretend otherwise until they can put the baby on the content.
And we don't know if it's real because they can Photoshop.
Yes, probably AI. It's not even there.
I really had a baby.
Some guy in Barcelona's doing their posts for them.
Yes, exactly.
I also think, I mean, I have 2 children. It's so, everybody is different. And also I do believe that age has got a lot to do with it as well. With regards to when I had my son, I bounced back much quicker than I did after having my daughter.
Okay.
But I think when you look at all of these celebrities and within maybe 5-6 weeks, they're all back looking incredible. I actually think it can make you feel a little bit, what have I done wrong? A little bit depressed.
Definitely.
You know, I know that social media and the world that we live in now with regards to Instagram and Facebook and social media, if I was sort of there thinking, gosh, I still can't get in my jeans and my daughter's now, you know, 6 months old or something, you know, and I'm looking at all of these celebrities who bounce straight back, but they've got personal trainers. They've got probably an awful lot more money than most. Maybe they've got childcare not everybody can afford.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think all of that taken into consideration, if you've got a personal trainer and you've got the money where you can have a nanny or something, I think it's not actually very fair on lots of new mothers out there.
Because they can't compete.
Because of body image. And then you do feel, you know, really, it can make you feel really quite low looking at social media thinking, well, what am I doing wrong, you know?
Especially as especially as Sheila said, that it can be genetic. You know, not everybody needs a personal trainer and a nutritionist and needs to be doing 5 hours of exercise every day in order to lose the baby weight. Sometimes it can just happen, which is amazing. But again, for women to see, oh, you know, what am I doing wrong? It could just be down to genetics.
Absolutely. And also as well, I think sometimes if you've got your own personal chef, you're able to sleep because you've got somebody like a nanny, bottle feeding or something throughout the night. I don't know. So the celebrities are possibly getting better rest than most new mothers would be. And then you do just sort of like go to the fridge and just grab something that's quick and easy because you're shattered and, you know, you're breastfeeding or maybe bottle feeding and you're just, especially if you're a single parent, having to, you know, be on your own with the feeds throughout the night. It's very difficult.
I think it's a shame that, and it's obviously a worldwide problem, but how many people look at social media and look at people on social media and compare themselves. And that's obviously a big problem with people looking at other women. I wish I looked like that. I wish my husband looked like that. I wish I had a car like that. You know, whatever it, you know, that kind of jealousy and envy when looking at other people's life, as opposed to being happy with what you've got and just thinking, oh, that's a nice car, or I love her hair, or oh, she looks cute in that dress, and it not affecting you at all, and just being able to appreciate that they look nice in that photo, or they've just cooked what looks like a healthy meal or whatever, without it affecting you personally. And obviously some people can do that, but as we've seen over the years, a lot of people can't, and that's really sad, and that's why it can be so damaging, isn't it, when it affects you so personally.
I mean, most people are not celebrities. Most people are just normal human beings who you know, work, you know, Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, and 2, 3, 4 children, however many, and, you know, normal state schools, and all happy in their lives. But then the celebrity world, unfortunately, is what a lot of people, admire and look up to. So.
And they're normal.
They're all normal.
They're the same as everyone else.
Absolutely.
They don't all have stretch marks, but some of them do. And relationship worries and money worries, they all go through the same kind of stuff. Okay, this is a fascinating one. So the article was written by Anonymous, Mrs. Anonymous. The headline reads, "We spent decades subsidising our poor friend. Then she bought a second home and a 75 grand Range Rover." So I read this article. It's really interesting. So basically, there's a big group of friends, girls that went to school together and have stayed friends throughout adulthood. They were all married with kids, that kind of thing, and all stayed friends and do a lot together, which is lovely. And this particular couple were constantly kind of saying, "Oh, we can't afford that," whether it was a skiing holiday or a nice restaurant, saying, "Oh, thanks, but we can't afford that. That's too much for us," this kind of thing. So the other friends sort of felt a bit sorry for them and wanted to include them. So they often say, "Oh, don't worry, it's our shout this time," or "Let's get a takeaway instead of going for dinner. We'll pay for it," and that kind of thing, because they, wanted to include them, which, again, nice. But then this couple basically turned up to a meal out in a Range Rover, probably worth, it's estimated, about 75 grand. A couple of months later, this woman from this couple let it slip that they'd bought a second home as an investment to rent out. And when one of the group, questioned it, saying, "Really, have you? That's amazing." And she said, "Yeah, we've been saving for years." And it turns out that they weren't necessarily poor, they were just saving their money. So they were choosing not to spend their money on going to expensive restaurants or nice hotels, saving the money and just saying, "We can't afford it." Really interesting, that. I was like, oh, okay.
So they were making really good choices for themselves. Well, what they perceived as good choices.
Yeah.
And just not having a social conscience to say, or a moral conscience to say, "Oh, my friends we've been included anyway. They're picking up the tab. That's okay. We've still got our savings going on."
Really bad.
Yeah. I don't think you can call her a friend.
No.
Not anymore, no.
No, well, they have fallen out, as the article reads.
I'm not surprised.
Don't see each other so much now. But yeah, it's absolutely true, isn't it? And if they choose that they don't want to spend their money in that way and save money, that's obviously fine. But they should just be honest with their friends and say, "Thanks so much, but we're trying to save, so we'd rather go to a cheaper restaurant," or "Thanks, we won't join you this weekend because we're saving money." And that should be absolutely fine. But that's different to say, "We're skint, we've got no money, we can't afford it," because they're two very, very different things.
Totally different.
Yes.
And also as well, if you're saving, everybody has to save, especially if you want to buy a new car or a holiday or a new home,
especially
second
75
home.
grand Range Rover.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's a lot of savings.
It is an awful lot. But there's nothing to stop, come round to our house and we'll cook.
Yeah.
But because, as you all know, we're saving, then that's a way to still involve and still have friends, but be honest.
Yeah, exactly. And the girl who wrote the article, she said that was the hardest thing, the deceit.
Yeah.
The hardest thing to kind of...
Yeah, you feel you've been kind and good, and we've all been there, haven't we?
Yeah, kind of looking after... It's a shame. It's a real shame because, I think it's made the friends who were being kind and generous, they'll automatically be more kind of suspicious and probably less generous than they were before because of what's happened. And again, that's a shame, isn't it? When people have, we see it throughout life, people who have been cheated on in relationships can sometimes have trust issues, that kind of that you can have issues because of experiences that you've had. It's life, it's normal, but it's a shame, isn't it? When people
take advantage of a kind nature.
Exactly. We better take a break.
Hannah Murray, TRE in the afternoon.
Good afternoon. It's just gone 10 to 6. You're listening to Women Talk. With me in the studio today, Sheila Mellor, Janet Barnett and Helen Stanley. There's an article about date nights. Boris Johnson and his wife Carrie swear by dedicated date nights to keep the romance alive. And now research has shown that they could be the secret to avoiding divorce. Those who take time out of their busy lives to focus on each other, especially when they have children, are 4 to 6% more likely to stay together. Only 4 to 6%. My goodness.
I didn't know that Boris Johnson had invented date nights. I think date nights have gone on for as long as I've been alive or been interested in dating. Yeah, I mean, I think in a relationship it is really important to have dedicated time together, especially when you've got young children. Yeah, and you're tired and you're both working, and I think having dedicated time. I mean, if you don't go out, just
absolutely. Otherwise,
romantic meal, candle, making an effort.
Definitely, it can be really. Well, I don't want to say easy, but it couples can fall into the kind of trap of being too comfortable. I guess kind of taking each other for granted. They're always there. If you enjoy watching different things on television, for example, you might find yourself in different rooms in the house, and it may be even eating dinner in different rooms of the house, and suddenly what are we actually doing together?
There's a chasm develops.
I also think my husband and I, we do try and have some date nights, as it were. It's just so lovely to get dressed up.
Exactly.
Look in the wardrobe and think, where can we go? Sometimes my husband would sort of already have chosen as a little surprise, rather than it just be a birthday or an anniversary.
Yeah.
It might even just be once a month. But our children are a little bit older now, and for us, we have a lot more freedom. But it's still nice to have that maybe once a week, if you're lucky, to get dressed up and go and not have to cook and go and sit in a nice restaurant. I mean, not an expensive restaurant. It can be anywhere. Just to sit and have a nice conversation and just spend some quality time. Like you say, not in different rooms or just to put something nice on and feel, when you were first dating. Yeah. You used to always get dressed up and everything. I think it's still very important in your marriage. I mean, it's almost 24 years my husband and I have been together.
Oh,
and,
lovely.
It's ups and downs like any marriage, but I think it's important myself. We do try and make a little bit of extra time once or twice a month to go somewhere and just even just to go to the beach with a cool box.
I was just going to say that, just a walk. It doesn't have to be.
Not anything expensive, just,
or
make some sandwiches and throw a bottle of cava in the cool box and just head down to the beach and just sit there. Yeah. It's nice. I think it's important.
Definitely.
I do.
And if you don't do things like that, you end up seeing other couples doing things like that, thinking, why don't we go for a picnic? Why don't you take me for dinner? Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So it's nice to kind of, if you want to do it, do it. If
Absolutely.
you value and realise the difference that it makes, then make the suggestions, make the effort. Yeah, exactly. Don't look at other people doing it. Suggest it. You can moan in your head, but I think it's nice not to. If you say to your partner, "Why don't you?" then it's not particularly great, is it? So just suggest it. Say, "Why don't we go out for a nice dinner, or why don't we go for a nice walk, or whatever?" And then it's a nice kind of.
I think it keeps her.
Otherwise, what happens is you're going on holiday. You look towards your annual holiday, because your annual holiday is when you're going to get dressed up, when you're going to go out somewhere nice.
Yes.
And then those 2 weeks or 1 week are fraught because you really are making an effort to try and make it work.
Yes. There's pressure for it to be the best holiday ever.
Yes, because it's cost this money. We've gone all this way.
Yeah.
So, yes, you're probably right. Do it more regularly.
Yeah.
Says Janet, who's not been in a long-term relationship for such a long time. I've forgotten what it's like.
But that can happen with a holiday, can't it? That's a good
Your
point.
Expectations are raised so much. Yeah.
Exactly. You think, we're gonna be on the beach, we're gonna get a suntan, we're gonna go to nice restaurants, and everything's in your head kind of perfect. And sometimes when you're there, it rains, as we've experienced recently. Yes, you could go on holiday and it rains, or you go to a restaurant and it's really expensive and the food's not actually that great, and you can have disappointments, and you have to be able to laugh about that and be okay, as opposed to ruining your holiday and your marriage.
Getting divorced on the plane back
because it rained. Okay. This is an interesting one. The headline reads, "We leave our child behind when we go on holiday and it's bliss." So this isn't a kind of right or wrong discussion. This is just experiences, either having brought up children yourself or having been a child yourself and remembering what your own parents did. I don't have my own children, so I can only talk about from the point of view of being a child, which I was once, my parents certainly didn't go on holiday without me, and very rarely went out and did kind of social things without me, to be honest. I was an only child, so you'll probably go, oh, spoiled. But yeah, we just did things together. You know, it always felt like a kind of family unit where you do things together, which was my experience. But I see a lot of parents doing things very differently now. It seems to be more of a thing for parents to have their own time, the woman to go away with her female friends and do girl time. That all seems to happen a lot more than...
I think when I was a child, my parents would never have gone away and without the children.
No.
Probably couldn't afford to get all 5 of us looked after.
Yeah.
But that it wouldn't have entered their head.
No.
But I did it a lot when I was a parent. I liked my time away from, with my girlfriends and having a break from being a mother. And
nice.
And I suppose I wasn't a mother that much because I was a career person, but it's interesting because I thought my son, with having that kind of experience, would have replicated that, but he's the absolute opposite. They never do anything without their children. They are such a family unit.
Yeah.
They would never they don't even when I go out to see them and offer to babysit, they will say, why would we want to go out? We'll have a takeaway and we'll have a takeaway together.
Yeah.
You know?
Lovely.
So funny.
My sister's 2 children. My sister and her husband had a pub, which they ran for about 35 years, which sounds wonderful for children because they're brought up in a pub.
Yeah.
But if they needed a bit of space and a time, they would send the 2 children with her husband's old aunties. He had 5 old maiden aunts that all lived together. Sounds wonderful. So they were totally spoiled. And that gave them a bit of space. They still had a pub to run, but the children with these old aunties. And it all came to light some years back when Spencer was helping his mum clear out the cupboard, and he found a diary. She said, Mummy used to keep a diary. She said, well, yeah, I was going to write a book one day. And in it he read, children gone to aunts, thank goodness. You couldn't wait to get rid of us.
Oh, bless
no, it wasn't like that. It was just you had a lovely time.
Oh, bless him.
Well, for me personally, I'm ex-cabin crew. I had to leave my son when he was only 6 months old to travel, because of my job, and it was awful. When I got en route, I would just cry for hours on end because I was at work and I had to leave him. It wasn't long after that I did actually give up flying.
Yeah.
Because I just couldn't juggle the two. And I was so scared that I'd miss his first walk or his first word and lose his first tooth because I was in a foreign country with my job.
Yeah.
So that's when I actually chose to end my flying career.
Yeah.
But, the older that our children got, that was when my husband and I had the odd trip away together, primarily because we were moving our home permanently to Spain. And it wasn't a place to bring the children with us because it was more of a business trip and setting up a new home trip, as it were.
We are at the end of the show. Thank you, ladies, very, very much. Well done all. Have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Bye,
Howard
Hannah.
is next. Have a good one.
You've been listening to a TRE production. If you've enjoyed this programme, there'll be another episode waiting for you next week, right here on this platform, where you can also access our extensive back catalogue of shows and interviews. For more information on our live programming, social media channels and apps, and how to contact Talk Radio Europe, please visit tre.radio.